All right, hello everyone. Hey Albert.
Hey, James.
I've got some exciting news. I want you to guess what it is.
Okay. Are you going to regularly start making YouTube videos again?
Nope.
Okay. Is it a new podcast?
Nope.
Oh, all right. I'm not sure what I'm here for then. Did you make an online store for merchandise, perhaps?
Nope. It's even better. So MilkBox will be having a more regular schedule. We're making a new podcast called Milk Crate Podcast, and there's a bunch of new designs on the website milkboxdesigns.com.
That all sounds really good, except for the fact that that's what I just said.
Oh yeah, I wasn't listening.
Didn't we have a podcast before?
Yes. All right. So Albert and I have some exciting news. We have been wanting to bring back our old podcast, Milk Crate Podcast, for a long time now. We had that maybe about 2 years ago, something like that.
Time flies, man. I can't really remember, but I think 2 years sounds about right.
Yeah. Honestly, ever since COVID, I have no sense of time. It could be 1 month, it could be a week, could be a year. I'm not even sure what my age is at this point.
I would guess 16.
The people who ID me when I go to Safeway and try and buy alcohol would probably agree with you. All right, so our podcast, Milk Crate Podcast, it's going to be available on basically all platforms that podcasts are available. Fair warning, it might take a little bit of time before it shows up everywhere, though. So, Albert, what are some of the places that people can find our podcast?
Well, obviously, first and foremost, you're going to be able to find it on Spotify and YouTube. You'll also be able to find it on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Deezer, and Amazon Music.
Yes, and for people who don't use those, you are able to use our RSS link, which is a good old-fashioned link that you can just copy and paste. It's going to be available in the description. It allows you to listen to our podcast basically anywhere. Just copy and paste the link if you like to listen on any different podcast app that was not mentioned, and you'll see our podcast pop up. I subscribed to our podcast, even though there's no first official episode yet, on an app called Podcast Addict, and I use the RSS link myself just to make sure it works. And this is just a little preview of what you'll see once our podcast officially launches, just a couple of weeks after this comes out. So we're calling this episode 0 because it's short and just explanation of what we're doing.
James, this all sounds fantastic, sounds cool, but there's a few things we need to talk about.
Exactly. Like, we need to talk about why the Roman Empire no longer exists.
Wow, that's okay. That was a little deeper than I was thinking. I was trying to figure out what your favorite mozzarella sticks are, because for me it's probably Applebee's, but I don't know, because TGIF had some pretty good mozzarella sticks. So
I'm actually really happy you brought that up, because I was gonna say the next thing I was gonna say was we're gonna debate if pineapple should be on pizza or not.
Dude, I mean, we'll get into it probably later in an episode, but I think my opinion on that is to each their own. I feel like there's a line to be crossed when it comes to pizza. Like, no one should be putting yogurt on pizza, for example. But, pineapple doesn't really cross the line for me.
Yeah. I've never heard of either of those two, but they both sound pretty horrifying. So I'm happy that I went about 26 years never knowing about this. Could have been longer, Albert. So thanks for that. So anyways, getting back to the podcast itself. We wanted to make this to talk about a few behind the scenes things that aren't going to get covered in the official first episode. For people who used to watch and listen to our old podcast, we are essentially relaunching it.
So does that mean people have to go and listen to the old podcast episodes?
No, absolutely not. But those episodes are still available. We made a podcast a couple of years ago, which I consider to be season 0. The reason I'm calling it that is because it's the same name. I really liked the name, and I didn't want to give that up, especially since I had some old designs for it too that I want to kind of rework. For any fans of the old podcasts, things are going to be similar but different. For instance, the sound quality is going to be way better than before. I've also gotten significantly better at editing, so the quality is going to shoot through the roof. There will also be no video aspect, even though it's going to be uploaded to YouTube. Before you could see our faces when we talked, and that won't be part of the podcast this time.
And people who used to listen to the old podcast will still be seeing some of the familiar members that were around previously.
Am I going to be on the podcast?
Considering that we're co-hosts and that you were like, hey, you should join the team, I am seriously hoping you will be part of the podcast.
Oh, thank God. I was worried there for a sec. So you'll be seeing Albert and I along with some familiar faces. Now, people might still be confused because this is going to be a lot of people's first exposure to MilkBox and the Milk Crate podcast. MilkBox itself is a YouTube project I started a long time ago where I wanted to make fun stuff with my friends. This was back in college, which felt like so long ago. Some things we've made are short films, podcasts, gaming videos, product reviews, and clothing designs.
On our old podcast, if you remember, we had sponsors. Do we have that again? Mostly because you still owe me money from the last podcast.
I'm glad you asked because we do plan on having sponsors and ads on our podcast. By us having this, it helps us to continue to make the podcast and to improve the quality. Plus, I can pay Albert back. We won't have it exactly at the start, but we will be adding them. Until then, for anyone who wants to support us, the best way is to share the podcast with your friends, or maybe head on over to milkboxdesigns.com and check out some of the merch that we sell. For anyone interested, feel free to subscribe to MilkBox on YouTube, where it's mainly me and my friends who play video games. That's also where Season 0 will live, because we're starting off officially with Season 1, with this being the aperitif.
I can do a lot of things, but I do not speak French.
It's okay, I don't either. I'm actually not even sure I said that word aperitif correctly. But I think it's a drink that you have before a meal. It kind of helps you stimulate your appetite, like an appetizer, but not really. So that's how I'm seeing this. This is just giving people a little taste of what's to come.
Yeah, we should probably talk about what the podcast is actually going to be about instead of just talking about us making a podcast.
That's a good idea. So other than just pizza toppings, what are we going to be talking about, Albert?
Well, honestly, a whole lot of stuff. It's pretty much going to be whatever we feel like and a little bit of our lives. But in general, we'll also be talking about movies, music, sports, and video games.
And the downfall of the Greek Empire. Or was it Roman? I've already forgotten.
Pretty sure it was the French Empire.
It could have been. So where can people follow us, Albert? For people that, love Milk Crate Podcast, they love us, where can they find us?
Well, there's a MilkBox Instagram and Twitter account, which is at MilkBoxOfficial. There's also the MilkBox YouTube, but really the best way is for people to subscribe to our podcast on any podcast app. For just the podcast, there isn't any exclusive social media presence, at least not yet.
Yeah, just subscribing and listening to our podcast is the best way to support it. And I don't know, maybe head on over to milkboxdesigns.com for some cool merch that was designed by me. How's that shirt I got you, Albert?
Right. Yeah, you mean the shirt that I totally have on right now?
Yeah, like the shirt I also totally have on right now. It's not the infamous mouse and cat who constantly fight each other in cartoons.
Right, yes. I definitely am inside of this shirt feeling comfortable and a part of the crew. It's a great shirt that I have definitely worn prior to this, which I am currently wearing it now, and I will continue to wear it in the future. There are many great holes to put your torso, arms, neck, and, really any other body parts you want to put through the holes. And I think that it's great.
That reminds me, I need to get a couple other members some merch and some shirts. Let's see. So I'm actually really proud of the clothing website. It's been something I've been working on for a long time now. Quality is my main priority because I want people to actually enjoy the clothes that they buy from us. Like, I've listened to podcasts and watched YouTubers where I buy some merch from them, and then the shirt, I'll be like, I like the design and I like, supporting them, but like the shirt I won't really wear out because it's just not a great quality. It doesn't feel good. And and I want it to be where it's like, oh, this is something I love to wear. Like this is a soft shirt, or I like the design on it. So I haven't been working on making many videos for the YouTube channel because I've been working on the website and designs. So for fans of MilkBox channel, there will be a lot more regular videos coming up. And again, best way to support us is either subscribing or buying merch.
So what about the podcast? How often will we be releasing episodes?
Well, I'm aiming for at least once a month, preferably every couple of weeks. There might be some special episodes we do, which we'll call supplemental content, kind of like a bonus or an extra video. Honestly, we'll see. We'll have a better idea after we do a few episodes. It's all the members. We all have our own lives. We have our own things going on, and sometimes scheduling doesn't exactly work out. So we'll see how we go for maybe the first few months, and then from there we'll give a little update.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think just as importantly, we all contribute something different to the podcast. We all have different ideas, different concepts, and so I think in addition to scheduling and just hitting the ground with our feet running, we're also going to be having different juices flowing, and we're going to be trying to cook with a lot of different things, and some of those things might work, some of those might not, but hope you're along for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of brainstorming that we've been doing the past couple of months. Like I just have a list of ideas that I would love to try out, and I know that a lot of people might like some of those ideas, and some other people just might not vibe with it. So we'll just see what works and what doesn't.
Well, I don't know about you, but I do believe that was pretty much everything we needed to cover.
Yeah, I think so, or at least I hope so. And again, all the links that we had talked about will be in the description. So if you want to follow us on socials, visit the store, or get the RSS link, you can. And again, it lets you listen on any podcast app that you have. Basically any. I'm going to say 99.999% of the apps. Hey Albert.
Yo.
I miss this. I'm really excited that we're officially be making our podcast again.
Dude, heck yeah, I'm super pumped. Can't wait to be talking with everyone. Hopefully, the people who listen along with our banter enjoy it, but if not, that's totally okay because I'm going to be having a blast just talking with the guys about whatever it is that we talk about.
Yeah, honestly, if it's even just like a single person that happens to listen to our podcast, I'd still want to make it.
And I'm going to name that person Andrea.
Andrea?
Andrea. Yep.
All right, well, this one goes out to you, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea, for listening. Thank you, everyone. And I hope that you stick around for our first official episode that's coming out soon after this.